Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, indeed, we'll turn our attention now to where we left off. We didn't actually conclude Vincent's comment. Vincent Nyekolo joins us again today from Abuja studios to give us his perspective on that strategy that the federal government is deploying, increasing the police force with, at least for now, 10,000, and which is ultimately aimed at strengthening a fight against terrorism. Vince, so many questions have been raised in terms of how they ought to go about it, and recommendations I think they would always welcome. You have any for them at the moment?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having morning view. I get to recruit at that 1,000 police officers for the Nigerian police force is a fantastic idea. If you look at the UN Charter on the number of police officers a country should have, depending on the size of the country, I think currently the Nigerians have about 205 against about 400,000 people. So obviously it's an idea that I do support. My concern and my recommendations will be what is going to be the process and the procedure and the due diligence of this recruitment. Sorry, go on.
I was going to ask, I mean, yes, they talk about the police colleges, how they need to do something about it. We have lots of people also talk about the current situation that we have now, how they also need to see how they can improve on the training. What do they need to do to ensure that if these 10,000 people going, they don't get sucked in by the system and become ineffective?
Fantastic, fantastic. If you remember in my last discussion, we mentioned about the issue of how do we performance manage even the trainers at the police colleges. Who are they? I'll give you an example. In the UK, we've got this performance that we do for medical doctors. So every year, each medical doctor that practices in the UK has to be performance managed to see if they're still competent to practice medicine. Because you've got loads of medical doctors that have been there for 40 years, and after some time, they start to lose the plot. Now, come back to Nigerian police colleges. How do we performance manage the police trainers so they don't get to train people and then suck people back to the system that does not bring back the best of productivity? So we need to do what we call a kind of fitness to practice for these trainers to find that level of understanding, understand their mental ability, because mental health is an issue we don't treat very well in Nigeria now. We have to do this at least once every year to test the ability of those trainers, because if they're not doing the job right, if they're not using the right training method and models. I'm a certified trainer, so I understand about training. So we need to go back to the basics to test them. So these new 10,000 that come to these police colleges, so they can get the best. And furthermore, I believe they should give us more information about the police personnel in Nigeria. We hear about 370 police personnel. Are all of them combatant police officers? Are all of them frontline police officers? Because if you can give us 370,000, whereas most of them sit back in the offices, they're not frontline facing police officers. That's number one. Number two, we need to look at the issue of the percentage of female police officers we have in the police force. Now, why am I talking about this? If you know about the issue of the usage of female suicide bombers across Nigeria to destroy lives and properties, one, we say we don't want to encourage male to female body search, especially now the Nigerian police force is looking at doing a lot of stop and search. As somebody who understands stop and search very well.
What? Okay, yeah.
I want us to look at it in another perspective, and the perspective I'm trying to bring in here, Vince, has to do with the number of policemen on the ground, as you were trying to highlight. Now the president has gone on to say, well, get 10,000 more. But shouldn't we be talking about those on the ground? What have we done for those we have already? First, there hasn't been any single barracks that has been built in the past 15 years or so for the Nigerian police. And the way the mobile police forces constituted, they were supposed to stay together, a close-knit family, a close-knit unit in a barracks. And they don't have all of that. And here we are faced with a recruitment of 10,000 more.
Yeah, I support you. I'll give you this in two perspectives. In the first perspective, I do believe that the Nigerian policeman or the Nigerian policewoman should get more support without a simple wristwatch. If you don't have a wristwatch, you cannot go. Because if a crime happens on the road, what do you have as a timepiece to record it? Number two, people need to be able to carry their notepad so they can keep account and records. If they have to go to a law court, they can defend what they wrote on their notepad that happened. Number three, we have to be careful about supporting our police. They deserve more support. That is one perspective. Second perspective, I don't like the idea of certain police officers that moan, that whinge about not being looked after. If you choose to be a junior cadre, if you choose to enter the Nigerian police force without a fresh degree, you don't expect to climb up a certain position. That is your choice. You still have a choice to go and further your education to get a better qualification so you can be upgraded. You cannot be where you are with your standard 6 or your secondary school and you want to become an IG or you want to make hundreds. They should build more barracks. But why should they be stuck in barracks? In sites across the world, in Israel, in America, in the UK, we don't have much barracks. You are paid enough to go and rent your own accommodation or buy when you can buy. It's very simple as that.